Welcome back. Bitcoin has been soaring toward $10,000 per coin milestone. The cryptocurrency has more than doubled its value just since October. Joining us right now is Pantera Capital CEO and founder Dan Morehead. Founded in 2003, Pantera Capital is the first U.S. Bitcoin investment firm and one of the largest institutional owners of cryptocurrencies. Actually started in 2003 or 2013?
We started our firm in 2003, and we started investing in Bitcoin in 2013.
Dan, it's good to have you on the program.
Good time.
Thank you so much for joining us. Well, wow, you really picked a winner here. Your fund is up 12,000% since launch.
It is, but I think it's really the first innings of a multi-decade transformation of finance, and so this will have a very big impact.
And explain Bitcoin to us, because we hear Jamie Dimon calling it a fraud. We hear this debate going on. It's not, what is it backed by? Not backed by the faith and trust of the U.S. government like the dollar is. So why should we believe in Bitcoin?
So if you think about it, the internet is a web of protocols, TCP/IP, SMTP, that help move data, voice, all these other things around. And it's radically changed how we do commerce, how we communicate. The one thing that was missing was money protocol. And even in the 90s, Milton Friedman said the only thing missing in the internet is a reliable e-cash system. And that's what Bitcoin is. It's basically the way to move money online without using a third party. And there's a lot of third parties that take a bite out of every transaction.
But just because this Bitcoin has a future and is the future of currency in our digital age, how is this not like what happened in the first internet bubble? I worked at the first completely standalone financial publication online, no print edition whatsoever, and you saw the valuations were ridiculous. They got away from people. A lot of companies that people saw as the future went out of business. And luckily, like, Amazon is still around and is obviously a huge success. But how is Bitcoin not like that? Like, ready for, it doesn't mean that it will go away, but it's ready for that bubble to burst and the mania to subside.
So here's the important distinction. In the internet, if you were prescient enough in the early 90s to say, this internet thing's going to be big, I want to buy a chunk of the internet, you couldn't buy a piece of TCP/IP or SMTP. You had to give your money to the sock puppet and hoped he could figure out logistics, right? Here you can actually buy a chunk of the protocol. There's 21 million shares of Bitcoin. You can own the protocol itself. And we've seen it in practice. We have a venture fund and we have a protocol fund, our Bitcoin fund. Our venture funds are up 5 or 10x, which in the real world would be knocking the cover off the ball and people would be psyched. But our Bitcoin fund's up 120x. It's massively outperforming because it's the protocols that have the value. You can own a chunk of Bitcoin.
But just because you can own a chunk of the protocol does not prevent people from speculating on it just to speculate and not knowing that and not buying Bitcoin for that reason.
Oh, sure. People are speculating, and it could be down 25% tomorrow. I'm not.
Right. It's up 900% this year.
Oh, yeah, it's very volatile.
But why is it Bitcoin? Why is Bitcoin the answer to this? I mean, maybe there's a different cryptocurrency. Why Bitcoin? Because there are other cryptocurrencies and ways to move money around online.
Yeah. So decades of experiments in cryptocurrencies were attempted. Bitcoin's the first one to get it right. And once it got it right, it's really just open source software. And so there's been 1,000 copies of Bitcoin. There's altcoins called Litecoin and Feathercoin and all these coins. Most of them don't have a radical advantage over Bitcoin. There are a few, like Ethereum and Ripple and Zcash, that have very different features that do something really cool that Bitcoin can't do. But Bitcoin is the first mover, and it has the most developers building on it, and has the most money invested in it. And the main thing I would say to investors is there's a lot of energy about, oh, I want to pick the winner. I want to pick the one. Is it Bitcoin or is it Ethereum? Which one is it? And that's not the way you trade a stock portfolio, right? You don't say, I'm putting 100% of my net worth in Google. I'm not going to own Facebook. I'm not going to own Amazon. I'm not going to own anything else.
That's a good point.
You buy a basket of 30.
Explain to us, how is it going to change our financial lives as consumers? What is Bitcoin going to do that changes the way we manage our finances?
Sure. So if you think about it, every financial transaction you do, there's somebody taking a bite out of it, whether it's your bank when you send money abroad, whether it's a credit card company when you swipe the credit card. It's if you're an immigrant, you're remitting money home. Immigrants pay on average 9%. And for us in the financial markets, 900 basis points, whatever. That's a month's wages. They have to work for an entire month to pay their remittance company. With Bitcoin, you can literally send any amount of money to anyone, anywhere on Earth, real time for free. That's pretty disruptive.
Look, you worked at Tiger. You've seen market moves up and down your entire career. Would you put new money to work in Bitcoin today after it doubled since October?
Yes, and I think the way to think about it, it's like venture capital investing with a real-time price feed. And if we had that back in the early 90s, no one would have built the internet. It's kind of scary. But here, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I think a year from now it'll be much higher. And I think within a few years it'll be at 50,000.
Wow, a few years, 50,000. Dan Morehead, you're going to come back and talk about it when that happens.
Thanks.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Dan Morehead there.